Howdy, hey, hello, it's McKenna, and this is Munch and Mingle. Welcome to our very new special friend, Corinne. The backstory on this is you are related to Frizz or Alyssa, who we had on a couple months ago. And what we're going to talk about today is something that I heard through her first about some pretty cool experiences that you've gone through.
The coolest.
So I had to have you on just to talk about it from your side, because I'm very interested in it right now. We are going to be talking a lot about birth today. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, we're going to talk about your munchie.
Yes.
Which I'm very excited for.
Yes.
Go ahead and tell us.
Very complex. We got some celery and peanut butter. Everybody. Good old first grader after school snack. I was telling McKenna, I now have a garden at my new house. So blessed. I love it. And I don't know what compelled me to grow celery. Never heard of anybody growing celery. Don't really like celery. Don't know why I grew it. But I grew it. I cut it down. And who eats raw celery? I don't. Dipped it in some peanut butter and I just fell in love, and now here we are.
Yeah. I was asking you, like, what do you want it to be? And you brought it up. First off, I want to get this on a bumper sticker, because the way you said this, you're like, honestly, let's just use anything like as a vehicle for peanut butter.
Yes.
And Britton heard that and he's like, yes, like exactly.
Yeah.
But I've never tried this before because I tend to usually not like celery.
Yeah.
And so I always just figured, oh, it's overpowering.
Yeah.
But I was like, we're going to do it.
Yeah.
Live and in person.
Perfect.
So it really is just celery.
Yeah, take that one.
Now they have raisins on them before, I've seen.
Yeah, little ants on a log.
Yeah. Do you like those?
I don't know. Maybe I should revisit it.
Okay. So a lot of people like this because of the crunch, right? Mm-hmm. This is so interesting.
It's not bad. I will tell you a trick though. I freaked out about my own celery because I cut it from the garden. I brought it in, and it was limp.
Oh no.
And I was like, I'm not going to eat that. Did a little Google search. If you keep your celery in water in a mason jar or whatever, Tupperware, in the fridge, so cold water in the fridge, all cut up nice, it is so crunchy and yeah, so satisfying.
I can get the love. Like my mother-in-law actually had to help me make this because I was like, how do you do this? Mm-hmm. She loaded it with some peanut butter, which is good. Mm-hmm. It's not bad. If I were to be offered this again, I think I'd probably take it.
Yeah. However, for peanut butter.
Yeah, that's what it basically is. However, I have like peanut butter all in my mouth now. Yes. But that's okay.
We're like dogs.
Give us a second.
Taking it off our teeth.
Okay, well, we've got so much to talk about.
Oh my gosh.
This is really our first time meeting, but just for me and for all the listeners to kind of give us just a quick who you are, what was life like growing up, and then, so you're married to Frizz's brother.
Yes.
And his name's Connor?
Yes.
And how you guys met and whatnot. And we'll just go from there.
Lived in Utah my whole life. Did a lot of like performing arts. I was nerdy choir, theater kid, and super involved in that. Went on a mission to the South, to Virginia, Chesapeake Mission.
Wow.
I don't think it exists anymore, but that's okay. But served in North Carolina. Anyways, besides the point, I came back home and I met Connor just at a call center. And yeah, just the rest is history. And now we're 3 kids deep, baby.
Oh my gosh. Had you always wanted kids?
That is a great question. So no, childhood was it was tricky. It was not the most functional family. I'll just say that. And I don't know if my mom loved being a mom. And that actually did kind of play a part in all of this, in birth and what we'll get into.
Yeah.
I just thought, you know what? Not for me. Don't really like that. She doesn't seem to love it.
Yeah.
Seems to be hard and whatever. So I'd rather do XYZ with my life, and wasn't a huge focus. And I think my mission changed that for sure. The Lord taught me a lot about families and the ideal and the happiness that can be found in being married and having families and children and all of that. And so I said, okay, I'll have maybe like one or two.
Yeah. Did it change more after you were married?
Yes, definitely. Okay. And this is so cheesy.
I love it.
But,
we're all about the cheese here.
Yes. But I think there's nothing more romantic than making a person with your person. Is that weird?
No, that's
like
cute.
Having children with your person and seeing it's like this person made of you two. Mm-hmm. It is you two and a person. Bringing souls to earth. What is more romantic than that?
No, that's really cute. That's not cheesy. That's cute.
Good. As you're in this tricky pregnancy, just remember.
Yes. Oh, yes. That's what we were just saying the other day. I was like, I'm really good when our kids are out of me. It's just when I'm pregnant, it's just a little tricky.
Yeah.
As we're obviously saying, we're talking about birth. Mm-hmm. You have 3 and you naturally delivered.
Yes, unmedicated, delivered.
There we go.
All 3. So my first Hazel, she was born in a hospital, but just unmedicated. I just didn't have anything. And then my other 2 were at home.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to kind of go into. The hilarious thing of kind of how Corinne and I met without meeting was, I don't know why. I can't remember why, but I saw a picture of your placenta after your second birth.
Yeah.
And I remember when I saw it, I was like, I can't believe what I'm seeing, because when I was in labor with Baker, they're like, do you want to mirror while I'm pushing him out? And I was like, no. They asked me twice.
Yeah.
And I was like, please no.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know why. It's just something with me. And so when Frizz was showing me, she was just like, look at how cool. And I touched it, and I'm just sitting there watching Frizz. I'm like, how are you so coherently normal right now? Yeah. Like, we're talking about, this was in her body.
Inside.
Yes.
It's an organ. It is classified as an organ, which that's fascinating by itself, that your body, grows a person, but an additional organ to grow that. Just birth and pregnancy fascinates me. So
it's insane. And so that was like the first, like, the door creeped open.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, interested, but okay, put it away. And then when we just went to lunch the other day, I think we brought it up, and then she had just said, yeah, she has 3 now. And she had then showed us your guys' birth video. And watching that, I was crying. I literally was, because I was like, that's so cool. Yeah. I mean, especially when you become a mother and you watch other mothers.
You've been through it, and you just see her face, and
yes.
you know what she's going through for sure. I don't care whose video or what they're doing. Anytime I see her birth video, I'm in tears.
Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Sitting across the table from her after we watch it, I'm like, do you think she'd come on my podcast? And Frizz was like, why have we not thought about this before? She like texted you right there. She's like, yes, I know she'll go on. And thank you for coming on.
I'm flattered. I feel unqualified.
No.
But I do have a passion for it, because I have done it 3 times now and I love it. But yeah, it is a broad subject, but I can speak to my experience just being little old me, that if I can do it, then lots of women can. And I say lots of women because, and especially like in your situation, there are situations with high risk pregnancies where it's not the ideal. That, thank goodness we have hospitals, thank goodness we have doctors, thank goodness we have modern medicine, because it is so necessary. However, if your pregnancy is normal, fine, dandy outside, just the normal sickness or just normalcy, right? I think my hot take is that every woman that just has a normal pregnancy should try. Yeah. Just try. I don't know. Just dip your toes in. Just research it a little bit. There's just something so empowering about it. And I'm sure we'll get into it later. But what a way to start motherhood,
Yeah. And we're going to kind of go in, and I want to talk, exactly how you did that, from kind of a progression through the 3. something we did talk about before we started recording, and I'm really glad you brought it up. The reason I want to talk to you, one, it's because the topic is fascinating, but two, I was kind of looking at it from a mindfulness approach because of how much stress, when everything was happening with Bo. I mean, I think I handled it the best way I could, but there's just other things you always look back, even with Baker, that I'm like, I wish I could have just been a little bit prepared so much more mentally.
Yes.
And I think that comes a lot with unmedicated births.
Yeah. And McKenna, I'm so glad you brought that up, because that's one thing ever since you asked me, I've been thinking about. Just one huge thing is how often mothers, especially new mothers, go into birth kind of blind, because you do have doctors and your staff and people that hopefully you trust going into it, but it is surprising and kind of sad how little preparation often mothers go through preparing for what is often one of the biggest days of their entire lives, that they just go in hoping for the best. But I think that preparation and that knowledge, no matter what you choose, if you choose to go all the way crunchy like I did and go home and have your baby, or if you have all the things and you have an epidural, just that you go in with knowledge, with power, with peace is, I think, the best way. And how often that's kind of taken away, because I think doctors often take that responsibility, saying, I do know best, and your nurses saying, I will take care of you. And they should. But I do think we would be much better served treating birth like the event it is, as a huge event in your life. It's the beginning of somebody else's life, the beginning of you as a mother. I mean, we prepare for months for weddings. You train for marathons. And this is like both of those events in life in one. It's a huge physical thing that you have to go through, and hugely emotional. But how much preparation do we do? And often a lot of women don't. And how much would that serve you no matter what path you take?
Already I'm like, yes, I need this. And it's reminding me of another episode I did with Mikkel. Her second episode, we talked about her birthing experience and how that, kind of like what you said, is she was kind of being told by the nurses, well, no, we kind of know. And it goes on to serve a lot of issues that they then had to work through afterwards, and how that's changed her view. So just even now, I'm like sitting here, I'm like reminding ourselves, like, we are capable to know our own bodies. And the other thing, and I'm already getting this obviously from what you're saying, and I hope everyone else is, you're not here to say this way is the only way.
Right.
It's more just like you said, here's just the information.
Right.
And you go take with it what you do. Just don't go in without any.
Yes.
Assuming you're just there to be told what to do.
Oh, for sure. And I think there's a lot of fear around birth. And it's a shame. If that could be my platform, I don't know, for every woman out there, is to not enter with fear. And that, yes, we've heard horror stories from moms, grandmas, aunts, sisters, but it also doesn't have to be that way. But the difference that peaceful birth stories and chaotic birth stories often have is just the knowledge and the right questions to ask, and knowing what is normal, what's not normal, what interventions do you want to use, what interventions do you want to opt out of, what is really necessary for your body. And sometimes, a few more things are required, and sometimes things aren't, and will turn out better for you if you do say no. That's one thing that I love about doing the research, asking the questions beforehand, so you can tailor it to you. If you know that you're prone to XYZ, then you're going to go a different path than maybe I might, because that's not something that I have to think about.
Yeah. So. Oh, well, let's get right into it. So Hazel's your first.
Yes.
How old is Hazel now?
She's 4.
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
So cute.
She's so big.
So you find out you're pregnant from day one. You decided, like, I'm going natural. Did it come along the way? What happened?
So silly how I decided to birth naturally. I just hate needles so much. And the thought of somebody sticking a needle and things into my spine Oh,
That's the worst.
That just made me all sorts of uncomfortable. I just was real scared of that. And so I didn't know anything.
Yeah.
I didn't know anything about natural birth. All I knew is that I was scared of needles. So if I can avoid that, then that would be ideal. Like anything to avoid that. No, but that honestly, I'm not even kidding you. That was like the initial thought of like, okay, well, I know that I don't have to, but what does that look like?
Yeah.
And just one thing after the other, researching from there and just feeling drawn to it. So from there, what do I need to know?
Right.
So I took a birth class, and that's one thing that I would say for anybody period to do, but especially if you're considering going natural, is just taking a class. And it doesn't even really matter what mode you go, because there's like Bradley birth, or there's hypnobirthing, and there's lots of different
I have
methods.
never heard any of these before. There's different methods.
There's different methods of how to cope or whatever.
Oh.
There's different ideals around it, but I think it doesn't really matter what class you take towards like natural birth, because one thing that's the most important for anybody to learn is just what your body is doing when it births on the inside, because that's one thing that's not covered in health class or anywhere is
Me seeing a placenta for the first time after my second. I'm like, what?
right.
Don't even
Exactly.
know.
Yeah. Like, what does the placenta do? How does it come into play? And what does your uterus do while it's birthing? Why do you have contractions? What's a cervix? All these things. And also, one huge thing that you learn in birth classes is like warning signs of this is abnormal, things that you should look for that need medical attention, or this is kind of within the realm of normal and you're probably okay. But of course, listen to your intuition, listen to your gut feeling. And the deeper that I got into it, and the thing that I love the most, especially like in the quote unquote, this is so silly, but the birth community, you know, people just who are very passionate about it, is just giving birth back to the mother. Just kind of what we've talked about, that there is a lot of fear around birth because the rap is that it's the most painful, awful thing that you will ever go through, but it's just a necessary evil kind of a thing to get your kids here, and horror stories and things like this. There is a lot of fear surrounding birth. But just giving it back to the mother of it doesn't have to be fearful. You can trust your body. It does know how to do this. You are safe, and that it doesn't actually have to be the most painful thing that you've ever experienced in your life. In fact, I would not consider any one of my births as painful. There were moments that were hard, and it's fine. And I think that's one big thing. People ask me, oh my gosh, 3? Like, why'd you do it 3 times? Mm-hmm. It's not necessarily pain. And especially when you know what to expect, you welcome it because you do know what's happening. Anyways, that's what I really liked from taking birth classes, and just that message of this is your birth. It's not up to the doctors. It's not up to the nurses. It's your body. It's your baby. You can trust your body. You are safe and you're powerful. That was the thing that I hold on to, especially continuing to have children, is that's how I want to start my motherhood of that child. Is I want to start it from a place of, I got this. I can birth this baby. I know how. My baby is safe. I am safe. And if I ever don't feel safe, then I have resources and I know what resources to turn to. I have a hospital close by, or if there ever comes a time where I do feel like I need to be in a hospital for this baby, I will do that. But just taking it back rather than the experience being so much, oh, we'll take care of you. It's a terrible, awful thing. We'll keep you safe from all of the dangers that are out there, is you know your body and you can handle this.
Hearing you saying this now, I'm 100%. I agree and whatnot. The one thing that keeps getting in my mind, it was your first pregnancy. Your first birth. Like now I can look at it and be like, I totally know what to expect. But I remember how terrified I was.
Yeah.
Like, what the heck? No, I have never done this. So how did you get past that mental block?
That is a great question, because that is the number one thing that I got on the receiving end whenever I told anybody that I was going to birth naturally with my first, was that I was naive, that I didn't know what I was getting into because I had never had children. And I mean, that's true. That's right. I had never had children, but it's just that knowledge. It's just that learning what my body is doing, even though I hadn't experienced it yet, that my body was designed to do this. And if something should go awry, that's okay. That we have modern medicine, and I will be okay. And I was in the hospital for my first because that's where I felt safest in case something happened, that it wouldn't be the end of the world. And I was just really gentle with myself, but also just held on to that power of, it is my body, and if I really want to do this, I can. Just that birth class was just very empowering.
With the more information, I can imagine that helped more of the fear be suppressed.
Right.
So you're in labor. You didn't get induced, or did you?
Nope.
So you just go into the hospital. Now I didn't know if you did this, I've seen people like set up like mantras, little quotes, they're playing their music.
Yeah.
Did you do that?
So each of my births have been very, very different. A hospital birth, honestly, with Hazel, my first, didn't look very much different from anybody else's. My hips were just super in pain, so I didn't. A lot of videos you see online of natural birth, she's rocking back and forth, and she is on the ball, and then she's standing up, and then, which is the ideal and what I've done in my other births. But my hospital birth wasn't that way. My hips were dying. Could not move without like crying through contractions if I tried to move. So I was on the bed the entire time. I had my husband and my friend do counter pressure, so pushing on my knees or squeezing hips and things like that.
And that's just adding like a different pressure.
Yeah, it's so nice. It feels, the best way I can describe it is if you're trying to lift like 50-pound weights and somebody else puts their hands under yours and helps you lift it.
Oh my gosh.
Just relieves so much pressure. And some people are not a big fan of counter pressure, and I am.
Yeah.
Because it literally, for me, feels like they just took the weight off of me, and I can do that. I can do this contraction if you help me.
Yeah.
Which, we could do a whole episode on the role of my, I'm going to get emotional, but the role of my husband in all of my births. Could not do it without him, even a little bit. Like, shout out to Connor for being the best daddy doula. He is the best, and he, through all of our births, worked just as hard. He was not the couch dad just waiting for the baby to arrive. No, he was just as a part of it, helping me through contractions, wiping my tears. Just so good, so cool. To another thing, just like, I loved that about starting my motherhood journey for each child with him in that way.
How did he know what to do? Did you take him to birthing class?
Yeah. The specific class that we went to was very heavily encouraging of that, of dads being involved and them being your primary source of comfort, of help, and all of that. And I think it's just really valuable for men to know, as little as women know sometimes about birth and their own bodies. Men know even less. Bless their souls. Yes. They know even less because it's not their body. It's not their job, right? And that's totally fine. But Connor, the deeper and deeper we went, because he was not super on board at first with everything. He was like, I don't know how safe that is. But as we learned more, he was definitely of the same mindset of, it's your body and you'll be fine. And I'm there as the support to help you through.
Yeah. Wow. How long were you in labor?
So with Hazel, so these are all different. I want to give you the rundown. Okay. It's so, because they say your third is your wild card. So
shoot. Okay.
No, it's fine. But first I was in labor for 12 hours and 2 hours pushing. I know.
Yeah.
And then my second 4 hours total from first contraction to him being out.
Mm-hmm.
And then this last was about 7 with like, I'd say, I didn't keep track. Probably I would say like 15 minutes pushing, but it didn't really feel
7
like that.
hours?
Yes.
Wait, okay.
7 hours labor and then like 15
minutes.
minutes pushing. So yeah, all my births have been just really, really different from each other.
Okay. So Hazel got here. There any complications, anything?
The only complication, quote unquote, and this is actually pretty common, is I got to a 9.5, and then I had a lip in my cervix, which at that point, a lot of women, especially unmedicated, will start feeling pushy, like they want to push, and there is a push reflex where your body just kind of starts pushing for you. And it, especially unmedicated, it is very difficult to not push when that reflex is starting to happen. But so I got to a 9.5, but the danger with a lip in your cervix is if you push too hard against it or push against it, you can have internal bleeding, and it's just a big no-no. Yeah. So they told me, of course, they just want me to open up to a 10. They don't want me to push prematurely. I'm laying on my back, you know, because I'm just in the hospital and whatever. They told me, okay, try not to push. So difficult. And I'm at a 9.5, and I have several contractions this way. A half an hour goes by. It's not going away. And to not get too graphic, nurse had to help out. Oh, and that was the only, like I said before, the only time I would describe as pain was that. Oh my gosh. And so like 45 minutes later, finally, lip in my cervix is out of the way. I can go ahead and push, and we're good and smooth sailing. Fast forward to Bennett's birth, second birth. I'm in the birth pool and in the warm water, and I am feeling like I want to kind of get into this specific position. I want to put my leg like in a lunge position, but I want to put my leg in this position, but then I quickly shut down the thigh. No, that's weird. That's hard. I'm not going to do that. But like the thought persists, and then I start getting these like painful contractions. They felt different than before. And so I told my midwife, something doesn't feel right. And so I asked her if she could like check what was going on. And she said, you have a lip in your cervix, you're 9.5. And so she tells me, so go ahead and put your leg up like this, the position that I was wanting to get into. And the lip in my cervix was gone in a contraction.
Wait, like,
and I was fine.
It didn't take as long as the first time.
No, it took like 45 minutes the first time. And the second time after I got into that position, that my body was like, go ahead.
Angled. Yeah.
Like wanting to get in. And she said, go ahead and do this. It was fine.
Wow.
And it was so cool for me because my intuition, my body wanted to be in the position that she later said, go ahead and do this. And it totally went away.
Wow.
Isn't that wild?
That's insane. But also like, of course.
Right?
Like, our bodies are so smart.
They're like, get here, do this.
Yes. So we're on your second birth. How far apart are Hazel and is it Bennett?
Mm-hmm. They are 20 months apart.
Okay. When you got pregnant with Bennett, same kind of preparation before?
Yes. I was very mindful, and I am with each of my kids. I treat it like I've never birthed before, and I've never nursed before, and I've never done anything before, because I really, for me at least, I don't want to fall into the trap of, I've been here, done that, because I know that I'm going to forget stuff. I'm human. I don't retain this knowledge all the time, and it's just so good for me to have a refresher, and not just on birth, but just everything, sleep and nursing and birth and pregnancy and all the things, just so I don't know that I'm my best self, and also just remembering how to do everything. So yes, every single time that I've birthed, I've gotten all my books out. I try to at least reread one of them and do all of the preparation things. I just think it just better serves me. And this is kind of applicable to life, but just knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So
we always get told that every kid is different.
Yeah.
Kind of just try to refresh your mind because you learn different things, but it's also could be different situations.
Yeah.
You're at home. You had a birthing pool. It's an inflatable pool.
Yeah.
Right? Okay.
It is not glamorous.
It's okay. How was it being in the water?
Oh my gosh. Just, it's so nice in the birthing community. They call it nature's epidural.
Oh.
Some things some people love and some things people hate, and it's not their thing. So I personally loved the water, and I personally love counter pressure.
That's right.
And I know that some women hate those things. So,
but there's other options.
Yeah.
That's so awesome. When you start feeling contractions, realize you're in labor, you just call the midwife and she comes over to your home.
Yes.
You already had the plan set up, ready to go. She was aware of it. And then just like you said, kind of what happened with Bennett.
Yeah, so Bennett was unique. So the typical scenario with natural birth and especially home birth is you'll start feeling contractions and start timing them. You might want to give your midwives a heads up. Obviously, they're on call for you. They know your due date. They've been, with you from day one. But they'll just let you labor as long as you feel like you can or you need until you need more support. With Bennett, I woke up in the middle of the night to crazy contractions, had Connor call them right away, and it was very fast, 4 hours beginning to end. Whereas with Tessa, my last, that just happened 4 months ago.
Yeah.
I was pretty proud, McKenna. This is let me tell you, I was pretty proud of this specific thing. I will pat myself on the back for this specific thing. But I started feeling contractions and I just, managed them, and we just went through it. And I remember different from my other births. My other births, I just focused on the next contraction, which is a great piece of advice. But this one, I was just telling myself, okay, I want to get to a certain point before I call the midwives over. I'd like them to be over kind of towards the end. I don't feel like I necessarily need them the entire time. And so I'm coaching myself in my head, just okay, I'm going to go through maybe 2 more, and I'm feeling them change. And it's my third one. I'm medicated. So I'm noticing myself go from one stage to the next, and I can clearly remember when that stage ended and I started moving into this stage, and that stage ended and I was moving into this stage. So that was really cool that I was able
I'm saying, I'm how in the world you do get you get more than a pat on the back.
No, it was really, really cool. And so because the fear, and I guess this is what I need to say, nothing is more disappointing when you go to the hospital, they check you, and you're at a 3.
Yeah.
And you've been having these contractions all night long. We've heard the stories of not progressing, or you think you are, and they check you, and you're 1 centimeter more than you were 4 hours ago. That's just so disappointing. I didn't know what I was at. So I'm watching myself go through it thinking, I think I'm in this stage. I'm pretty sure.
Are you timing?
Yes.
Because that's what I've always heard, right? You time them.
You do time, but especially learning more. It's not so much about time as it is intensity, and it feels different. And the mother will also just be emotionally different at each stage and just physically start feeling more symptoms than just, oh, your contractions are closer together. Because I think my contractions were generally about the same time and about the same length apart, but they just changed in their depth, in their intensity, and things like that. Anyways, so I was watching myself, coaching myself through my last birth. And then finally I said, okay, I'm going to go through these next 2 contractions and then check in with myself. I'm not saying this out loud. This is all mental game. And then I'll check in with myself and ask myself, okay, do I think I can go further, or is it about time to call them? So I got to the point where I said, okay, let's go ahead and call them and have them come over. So they came and they checked me, and I was at an 8.
You're kidding. Oh my goodness.
It also told me, and one big thing about natural birth is just getting out of the way. That a lot of women just fight against their contractions and run away from them and almost try to make it not happen. And it really does a disservice to you, because embracing them and letting them do their work in your body is what brings you your baby. And also ultimately you're more relaxed. And I don't remember his name, but he wrote Childbirth Without Fear. And he has this whole theory on fear, tension, pain cycle is what he says, that the more fear you're in, the more tension you hold and the more pain you have. And that is especially true in childbirth. It just sets you back. It makes it longer. It makes it harder when really your body needs you to relax so that it can open your body, make way for baby. Whereas if you're clenching and you're holding back, it can't do that. I was just really grateful, really proud of myself to be able to get out of the way, to be able to progress that far to right at the finish line. Called my midwives. They're there for the finish line, and I can definitely do this because we're there and we're close. And yeah, so that was highlight of my last birth.
That is incredible. I'm just sitting here like flashing through my last two, and I'm like, yeah, that was probably a little too much tension, and that was probably my bad, but it's good.
No,
these are things I want to learn. I want to hear.
Right. I want every woman to know this, that it is scary to a point. You've never done this before, or if you have done this before, because still whenever I am pregnant, I think, oh, okay, I have to birth another one. But
you're telling me you don't just look forward to it,
right?
Like a walk in the park.
It's I don't know. I told my midwives it's a respectful feeling. I don't want to enter with fear, because we're not about that. We're not gonna live our lives in fear. But I am respectful that it is a powerful experience, you know? So
that's so good.
So yeah, that's how I
was. There anything different with your setup on Tessa from Bennett?
Yes, very different. I actually wasn't intending on having Bennett at home. I was intending on having him at a birth center. But contractions were so fast, so crazy, middle of the night. I'm not getting in a car. I don't want to do that. So uninterested in that, that the midwives were just more than happy to come to me. So I didn't really have like a whole lot of like glowy lights or anything that you see. But then birthing him at home was so cool, because I did feel safe with my midwives, because they have the equipment like oxygen machines, syringes full of some of Pitocin to help with hemorrhaging, and other several medical things should something arise. There's close to nothing that can happen that they can't get me or baby stable before ambulance arrives. So totally safe. And
I didn't even know that.
Yeah, so
I literally thought they just show up.
No, yeah, they're medical professionals, like full with like their whole medical kit. I can't even go into everything they have, but in my birth video, they pan over several of like the syringes that they have laid out and ready, and sutures and whatever they need to do should an emergency arise. But besides the point, being able to have Bennett, and I wasn't expecting this because wasn't intending on birthing at home, having him and then getting taken care of and all that like postpartum stuff, checking the baby, checking me, we're all good, everybody's good, and going to sleep in my bed with my husband cuddling me, my baby in my arms, and doing skin to skin, falling asleep, and just knowing that when I wake up, my midwives will do the next check and they'll come back in several hours, and so unbothered by anybody or anything. I love that. So that's why I wanted to birth Tessa at home and was intending on it. Tessa's setup was more intentional. I did have the very typical affirmations on the wall and glowy lights. Well, and we said this beforehand, and it's a most physical and emotional event in your life. And so we really did treat it like a birthday. I am preparing these things physically for the birth, not just like a nursery and like the after things, but the things for birth, the like affirmations and how do I want to feel when I'm going through labor? What's the environment I want to be in? And hospitals are getting really, really good at this too. It used to not be so much this way. It used to be like very glaring lights and just people coming in and out and all of that. But I think hospitals are getting more and more mindful of keep the lights dim and talk with soft voices. And if the mom does want to bring in music, then that's really great for her and things like that. So with my setup with Tessa was how you would expect from a home birth. But I think every mother should do that. Like treat it like a cool, special event because it is.
Oh, this is just getting my whole planner heart going.
Oh, yeah.
I'm like, okay, I've got some work to do. We're just barely hitting halfway for me. And I'm like, we got time. I could go pull out some books and get the streamers ready.
Yes. Balloons.
Yes. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, birthday cake. That's exactly what I would see.
We actually sing happy birthday to each of the kids born in the family. We sing happy birthday to them that day with like a little cupcake and candle.
I'm done.
Because it's just like a tradition and it's cute and it's fun and it's their birthday.
I want to ask, like, I mean, so you want to have more kids if it comes up, which is so great. Advice, anything you want to do specifically for you differently on the next one?
That is an excellent question.
I realize it's hard. You're, like you said, you just did this 4 months ago.
Postpartum.
I didn't even ask like how the birthing of Tessa like went comparative to Bennett. Let's go to that one first.
Yeah.
When you did give birth to Tessa, it was a little bit longer than Bennett's.
Yeah.
You were standing up.
Yes.
I remember this on the video. I was like,
interesting.
What the heck? Wait, she's standing up?
I know. I'm weird. I'm weird. I don't know.
It's not.
But it just
Not that.
right? No, I think it's just interesting, but I will say this. So, Hazel, I'm on my back and pushing for 2 hours. And I mean, it is typical for first-time mothers to push longer. It's just a set of muscles that you're totally unfamiliar with and all of that. So, typical to be longer pushing for your first, but also didn't do myself a whole lot of favors by being like basically pushing uphill, right?
That's so true.
Is one big thing that birthing naturally I'm really appreciative of is that they really honor your body's physiology and how it works best and working with gravity and the positions that open your hips up, and let's make it easier, right? Let's not make it harder. I think that's a big misconception about natural birth is that it's the harder route, but I kind of would argue if you're able to, if you're not high risk, if your pregnancy is super normal, you're well prepared, I would kind of argue that it can be the easier route, especially healing.
Well, okay, I can at least vouch for the having the epidural with Baker. It was hard. You don't realize how hard it is to move dead weight, especially when it's your own. I'm like, you can't turn. I just remember like them having to get 2 nurses and Britt and try to pull the sheet so they could turn me to my side. And I'm like, I feel like a dead horse. Can I not use any of my upper body?
Right.
Like, so I totally agree with you in that. And that's what is interesting about being unmedicated is you can move.
I know. Alyssa, she's so funny. She's been at my last 2 births. She says, you're just so normal immediately after giving birth.
Yes.
And I know it's so strange that your body really is amazing in the way that, especially with natural birth, because there's just nothing in the way of like your uterus and your brain, essentially, for lack of a better word, talking to each other, and your brain and your body really supplying you like the hormones and the things that it needs to get through birth. And then once it's over, it's over.
It's like done.
And it's done. And you're no longer in like labor land, like getting through it.
Yeah.
You're out of it. You're here. I went up the stairs to my bedroom with Bennett because I birthed downstairs, got in my bed. I mean, I took it slow. I didn't sprint up the stairs, but I am really grateful for that. Yeah, just recovery is, at least I've heard. I don't know, y'all. I haven't had an epidural. Yeah. So that's one thing I can't speak to, but
I just hated not feeling anything.
Yeah.
That's exactly what it was. And I hated it.
Yeah, that's
obviously
wild.
with Bo, it was a C-section. So
Yeah.
that's already weird. So Hazel, you're laying down.
Pushing, laying down took me so long, but Bennett, I was also standing.
Oh, okay. So you were
So
in the
I
lunge
don't know.
position, but then
Well,
you moved.
I was just standing to push him because it's so strange. Just like where your body wants to be. Like I was trying different positions. Nope, want to stand. So I just did. And I just pushed standing, and the same exact thing happened with Tessa. And I had the same set of midwives for both Bennett and Tessa. And they just said, you know what? Maybe your pelvis, maybe your just body, it just is more open or just easier that way for your body. Because one thing with Tessa is I just wanted to try. I just wanted to try to be in the pool or just try different positions. And my body was just screaming, this is not it. I do not want to be on all fours. I do not even want to be sitting up. I don't want to be in any of these positions. And I just wanted to stand. And so that's what happened. And pushing was fine. And like I said before, it's not that my births have ever been like totally zen. There's been parts of each of my births that have definitely challenged me, but it wasn't beginning to end the worst thing that I could ever experience. It was just there were things that were challenging about that particular birth. So with Tessa's, it was pushing. With Bennett and Hazel, I loved pushing, but Tessa's was just different for whatever reason. I don't know. I did stand up, and my wise midwives, I think they saw that I was just hating being in the pool. And so they just suggested, let's get you up. Let's get you to the toilet just so you can sit, because that's just nice, because the pressure's nice on your body for labor when you're on a toilet. But anyways, so they took me there, and then I think that just was good for me, because once gravity, I think my body, just right combination for me. Like I'm saying, like I don't think everybody should push standing necessarily, but I guess my message with that is that was right for me, and that felt good, and they were able to help me get into the position that was best, and then I was able to push her pretty well, and she was born.
It's just serving as a blanket reminder of there's no one right way.
Right.
Any other advice? I mean, we've done so much, and I've already been like, oh, I'm going to be going back and taking notes on this one.
I have been thinking about this so much, and I did call up my midwife again, just because I was like, hey, this feels like a big topic that I feel very inadequate to speak to, because it's just, there's so much to it. I remembered why I hired her specifically. The thing that she said the very first time that we met was, you have a stewardship over your children, and Heavenly Father gives you certain knowledge, and you have a right for revelation on your child and on your baby, and that their job as midwives isn't to tell you what to do. It isn't to force you to do anything or anything like that. It's just to honor what you feel you need to do. And so that would be my biggest advice, is just to remember that your children are yours for a reason, that you are entitled to that revelation for your children, and to treat it that way, including birth. To not just leave it up to other people's knowledge, whether it be a midwife or whether it be a doctor or whether it be your mother or anybody. Don't just leave it up to somebody else to tell you what to do, or even me, but put in the research and the prayer and the time to learn about your body and learn about birth as a whole, and then enter into it really prayerfully and mindfully, because if you do that, then no matter what you choose, and if you do, like your situation, McKenna, have a surprise C-section, that you can navigate that just so much more peacefully than, sadly, a lot of the stories that I do hear where something happens and it doesn't feel peaceful. It doesn't feel like the birth experience that you want, especially to start out your mothering experience. Whether you are a mother of 2 or 6, that's just extra trauma to put yourself through. But even if you have a surprise come up in birth, just enter into birth with knowledge and trust in yourself, trust in Heavenly Father, trust in your revelation. And that's the best way to go about birth.
Wow. Okay. I legit was waiting for like a to-do list. That was the most incredible answer.
Oh.
That was so good. We're to the end of it and I'm like, I'm just feeling so full.
Oh,
so good. You have that effect.
Oh,
I can imagine many other things we could talk about and you
you're
would be
so
the same
kind.
thing. It's a very interesting topic.
Yeah.
It can be very sensitive, but I think a home run. You
Thank
did.
you.
That was so great.
Oh, God.
Wow. Well, this was an answered prayer for me.
Oh,
Going
good.
with everything
I'm
that's been
glad.
happening this pregnancy.
I'm
It's
glad.
been a little crazy and we're barely hitting halfway next week. So I needed this.
Good.
And I hope who's ever out there listening, whether you are pregnant, whether you have kids, whether you don't, I hope you store this conversation away. The advice you just gave can be tailored and given to so many different topics too.
Right? Absolutely. That trust in yourself. I think our society as a whole just struggles with that, right? We are always looking for validation, for justifications, for, I don't know what you call it, but just that going forward without fear. I think fear is just one of Satan's biggest tools. And especially in this role as motherhood, wow. Like, how can he just freak you out more than with the actual birth of your child? But anyways, he just tries to get us fearful, and that does not serve us in any way.
No. Thank you so much for opening up your life, your story to us, the Munch and Mingle community.
Yeah.
Whoever you are out there listening, thank you for coming. Thank you for sharing in this. We hope you're having a great day and know that you're loved. And we will see you back here next time. Bye.